If you cornered me on a dark street, pulled out a knife, and demanded that I reveal to you the most powerful secret to marketing that I know of, I'd go with, tell your story and be authentic. Now get that thing off my face. Huh? Tell your story and be authentic is hardly a secret. In fact, I'm sure you have noticed it's a line that influencers and gurus and magazines like Forbes trot out all the time. And I suspect it's just something they say to seem wise and up to speed with current marketing trends. It's an easy thing to say, isn't it? So why am I still picking it as my answer to your question? Because done right, it is the most powerful thing that you will do for your business or profession. Influencers, gurus, and Forbes are right, kind of. Regardless of what you do, a story well told will make you, unforgettable. Lets you build a tribe of loyal customers and profit hand over fist, as they say, while still remaining kind of relatable human being to your audience. But there's a reason we are not drowning, in amazing storytelling by brands and businesses and individuals. It's insanely hard to tell your story, to be completely out in the open about your life, being vulnerable and authentic while still being able to ignore the haters. For one, there's this imposter syndrome. It's the idea that you have only succeeded due to luck, not because of your talent, qualifications, or hard work. It's the incessant feeling that you don't belong. So when it comes to telling your story, it feels like why bother? Meaning, who cares about your story? There are, the good news is almost, everyone feels that way. According to the International Journal of Behavioral Science, about 70% of people are suffering from imposter syndrome. Yeah. What's even worse is that imposter syndrome has many faces, and because of that, it can be hard to recognize it most of the time. Perfectionism, for example, is where you set kind of extremely high expectations of yourself. Even if you meet 99% of your goals, imposter syndrome will tell you that you're still a failure. You know what I mean? Or it may leave you feeling that you need to be an expert. Meaning, before you start a project, you need to collect each and every piece of information and obtain every possible certification and so on and so forth. Another thing that plagues even the most talented people is what they suddenly when they suddenly have to kind of struggle or work hard on something. What happens is, you might think that because it is easy for you to play a piano, for example, it should be easy or just as easy to pick up, let's say, Java programming. There are many more examples like this, but the point is, these thoughts stop you from sharing your story. Or even if you somehow force yourself to do it, your story comes out kind of stifled, unnatural, and completely inauthentic. Next, there's the close cousin of the imposter syndrome, the thought that you're not just enough. That little voice inside your head that says, and there are people who have it way worse than I do, so why should I care? Or the complete opposite, who am I to tell my story when there are people who are so much more successful than I am? There could be a bunch of reasons for that. Perhaps it's some of your maybe hidden core beliefs running the show. Perhaps your inner voice is kind of judgmental, or people around you are overly critical about you. Listen, I am not a therapist. It could be a number of those things or none of those things as well. But as far as you know, you're being able to share your story and do it the right way, and to be able to kind of reap the benefits, here are the things that work. First of all, understand that it's perfectly fine to be normal or average or, let's say, regular. Meaning, a lot of people think that something huge, bad or good, needs to happen in order to have a reason to share the story. Nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, if you are not miles ahead of your audience, and or perhaps only one step ahead on a certain journey, for example, if they don't or haven't figured out how to pick a product to sell on Amazon, but you have 3 successful products selling, that makes you much more relatable, and your story will have a much bigger impact than if you were like this godlike figure. So give up on your imposter syndrome. The best way to beat it is to acknowledge the thoughts and put them in perspective. For example, if you're worried that you can't give people advice on writing copy because you haven't written a single persuasive line, well, what about the time that you persuaded your parents to buy you a bike? Tell that, and it'll be better than 90% of what the so-called copywriting experts are doing. And remember that people who are lucky enough not to feel imposters, like they're no better, no more capable, and they're not anyway more talented than you, perhaps. Second, find your voice and don't be ashamed of it. People will appreciate you for who you are, and those that don't, do you really want to work with them anyway? It's your playground, your game, and you make the rules. The side benefit of that is the more you do it, the more you will connect with your true inner voice and help you organize your own inner story about what happened to you throughout your life. Third, realize that you are building your tribe around your story. This goes beyond having an email list or kind of a following or whatnot. Once you connect with people over your story, that you tell unapologetically and sincerely, that bond goes deep. I still follow some people from years back, whose story just resonated with me. You simply can't buy this with money. Once you have that, it's the most kind of, I would say, impenetrable edge you will ever have in any marketplace. And now the last thing, get started. Action breeds motivation and momentum. If you are kind of pumped up to share your stories, insights, perspectives, and knowledge in a book, just visit stardombooks.com and let's do this project together. We may have an open spot to take in new clients for our Star Author program, where we deploy our team to guide you, support you, and even write your book with your stories and your perspectives. Awesome, isn't it? Just reach out to any of us on www.stardombooks.com and let's begin your book. Until then, keep smiling, believe in yourself, and get all the best things in life.